Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel, and if you hadn't guessed it already, we're doing another video on the Silencer Co Maxim 9. So this is a bit of a comparison video. So you'll all know, if you follow the channel for a while, you know I've done a build on the TTI off TP22. The amount of aftermarket parts available for this thing, the gun's cheap, the aftermarket parts are cheap. There's loads of stuff you can do, which we'll get into in a bit later. But there are similarities in these two platforms that might not be super clear. They're Glock based. They use airsoft Glock style magazines. They both are capable of semi and full auto fire. They both have fixed barrels at the front there, so only the rear side. I mean, on the TP22, it does sort of carry through to the front, but the barrel is fixed, so they should be accurate. For the most part, they're ambidextrous. I'm not sure on the mag release on the Maxim 9, but at any point in this video I've missed a comparison between the two, or I've missed details. Just put your question or your comments down below, and if it's a question I'll answer it. If it's a comment, then it's going to benefit those that are reading them. So first what we're going to get to is the magazines. Now I've got two magazines here, this being the TTI TP22 magazine, this being the Maxim 9 magazine. Now I've got the slightly bigger scales here because it wouldn't pick up the TTI mag last time we tried to weigh it. But this is 280 grams for the TTI there. These are loaded with gas, just bear that in mind. Zero that back out there. So we've got 280, and this one's so light it wants to lean forward, so let's put it on its side. 125. 280. So these aren't the most accurate scales, but you know, quick maths, this is less than half the weight of this one. So what we're going to do throughout this video is I'm going to be keeping a crude scale. If the Maxim 9 scores a point, it's going to go in the Maxim 9 column. If the TP22 scores a point, it's going to go in this column. Now, why are you comparing these two pistols? Are two very different price points. Well, for me, it's the role that they're going to be used for. A sidearm for something where you may want to use a bit of full auto or something like that. So they're very different in price. So let's get down to the price first. You know, anywhere ranging from £260 to £300 I've seen these go for. Very expensive. I think this was less than a third of the cost. It really was inexpensive. I think it was sub £100. Now this one was bought in the UK. This one was bought was it bought overseas? Can't quite remember if I bought this overseas or I bought this in the UK, but it's almost a third of the cost. So that's going to factor into a lot of people's budgets. I'm going to do my little sharp here. So in terms of cost, it's going to go into the TP22 column. Now, they do use Glock magazines. Getting these for the Maxim 9 spare from the retail I bought it from, they all seem to be out of stock. That's not saying all retailers are out of stock on these, where these were in abundance when I bought it. I ended up buying like 5 or 6 of them, I think. Both have the valve on the back like a VFC. One has a elongated curved router, where this one has a shorter flat router. Now the TTI magazine will not fully seat into the Maxim 9. It just won't catch. However, the Maxim 9 magazine will fit straight into the TP22, and it does work. Works absolutely fine. So accessories wise, what can you get for these? Now, holsters, haven't managed to find a holster for this one yet. Holster is available for the Maxim 9 straight away. So in terms of holsters, it's going to go in the Maxim 9's column. I've seen a few comments, people saying this holster will fit the TP22 or this one, but looking at the pictures of those holsters, it doesn't like it'll accommodate the red dot. So it leads me on to my next point. In terms of putting a red dot on these guns, because they do accept it, you've got to go buy an adapter for this, which doesn't come with the pistol, where this one came with the pistol. It's just a little plastic adapter, and that comes in the box. So if you want to run a red dot, you know, the point goes to the TTI TP22. Now let's say you want to run a flashlight on this thing. Don't think I have one to hand here, but you know, the TTI TP22, we could slap a pistol light on there. The only thing I do have close by is one of these old run cams, I think. So you could put that on there. Obviously, it does look a bit like an X300, so you just have to imagine it in your brain. But it will go straight onto the TP22, and you can run it. With the Maxim 9, however, you've got that key mod slot at the bottom. You have to buy the key mod rail adapter, so it's an extra that you have to do. And also, when you've got a light fitted to this thing, it just makes it even more cumbersome. So in terms of fitting a tack light, again, it goes to the TP22. I'm probably going to be saying that name a lot in these in this video, so bear with me. The rest of the accessories wise, there are accessories for this, but there's not many. You can't go buy, you know, a trigger from them or a different mag release, or, you know, barrels are a bit here or there. You can buy the extended silencer kit and then run tracers in it. I've heard people say in the comments as well, they've literally put a tracer in it without that kit. So there are accessories available for both. However, the TP22, I managed to get an inner barrel from TTI, I managed to get an outer barrel, I managed to get a compensator, I managed to get mag release, trigger, the flared magwell I think you can get as well, but I didn't end up going for that. So, you know, take that into consideration. The parts are, you know, accessible for this platform. The trigger, I mean, I do have a fancy TTI trigger on this replica, so it is absolutely superb. The other trigger wasn't bad at all. I would say it is superior to the Maxim 9. It is a much harder trigger pull, and then the reset, it's just notchy. So in terms of the trigger, I'm afraid it's going to have to go against the Maxim 9. Did I do magazine weight? I can't remember if I did. I don't think I did. So magazine weight, the Maxim 9 takes it for me. You know, it's less than half the weight, and the construction of it, in my opinion, it just seems slightly better made than the TTI magazines. Just the mouldings on like the feed lips and stuff, they're just a little bit smoother. Not to say that caters into it or it's going to cause you an issue, but you know, it's got to be mentioned. So the Maxim 9 gets a point for that. As far as dropping the slide off these things, both are very quick and easy. Now the TTI, you just have to make sure the hammer's dropped. 2 tabs there, you pull those down and the slide comes off. With the Maxim 9, push the button, pull the tab, and then pull the slide to the rear. A little bit more janky, but you know, you can get it off pretty damn quick. In terms of fire selector on these things, again, it's got to go to the TP22, and this isn't a biased comparison. I'm literally doing this on the cuff, but you know, with the Maxim 9, we do have to lock the slide back to change it, where on the TP22, we can just flip a switch, much like a Glock 18. So 5-2 on the TP22. So in terms of realism, what you get from it, it's going to have to go to the Maxim. It is a hell of a lot cooler piece. You know, there's a bit more excitement to it. You know, if you lived in the States and you were comparing the real Silence Co Maxim 9 to a real TP22, I don't think there'd be any comparison. But in the way that Krytac have nailed it, I think honestly they've done a really good job, and it does sort of, you know, beat the TTI pistol on that aspect. Materials. The metal construction of the Maxim 9 is extremely good. The frame, I really do love the polymer and the stippling. It's very comfortable. There is a massive flex. I don't know if you'll be able to see this. You can see it flexing between the upper and lower. So it's got to be mentioned, really. It would be nice if that was a bit tighter. I think they need to clean up their QC a little bit there. The TTI is not bad. Material-wise, the metal parts aren't as nice as the Maxim 9. The polymer on the lower frame is actually really good. It's a really slim grip compared to the Maxim. You see, it's a lot slimmer. Feels a lot slimmer in the hand. this is very comfortable, but then as soon as you come to the Maxim 9, even though it's a much wider grip, it does kind of take the crown on that one. It's just the way that they've grooved the grips and such, and the way that your fingers fit into the slots. It is a much more comfy pistol. Not that this is bad. The grips that thin on this, it almost feels a little bit comparable to like the 5.7. So, did I do materials? I'm not sure. But in terms of the grips, I'm going to have to go with the Maxim. So with the materials, because I didn't mark it down there, the Maxim does get it in terms of the quality of the metals, but because it sort of falters so much on the upper and lower play, I'm just going to call it a draw here, because that really does let it down. Although this doesn't have as nice metal parts, it's just there's no play in it whatsoever, so I'm not going to mark it either or on there. Now, coming to steel parts, we know this gun has all the steel hammer parts in there. Can't quite remember with the TTI. Let's double check. It's got a little magnet here. Let's see. I'm guessing not. No. So the fact that you're getting steel components in your trigger mech, you're going to get better longevity, better reliability. It's going to last longer. So that is going to go to the Maxim 9 for including that out of the box. But just remember, this is almost 3 times the price. Now, more importantly, the hop unit. Now, this is just a night and day difference between the two pistols. So with the Maxim 9, you've got to get like a little Allen key, and you've got to put it in the side here, and you've got to adjust it up or down. And then as you fire the pistol, the hop actually winds itself off. This really does destroy the usability in a game, because there's nothing worse than having an airsoft gun where you've set the hop, and then during the game it's winding itself off and there's no way to quickly rectify it. I mean, yeah, if you could carry an Allen key on you with the game, but you don't want to be doing that every mag or two, adjusting the hop. Now, the TTI has a fantastic hop setting. So you've got plus and minus on the back here, so it's clockwise for more, counterclockwise for less. You've got a little wheel. You don't have to take the pistol apart or anything like that. You don't have to use a tool. You can get a nail in here and change it while the slide is forward. But you know, if you've got gloves on, you can literally just pop the slide back and adjust the hop left or right. Clockwise for more, counterclockwise for less. And the wheel is very stiff. I think it sits on a hot rubber from memory. Not hot rubber, a little O-ring. So, you know, it doesn't seem to sort of counteract itself while using the pistol. So in terms of hop, it's going to the TTI. Now let's have a look at snappiness and rate of fire. Now these magazines are at room temperature. It is freakishly cold outside at the moment, but we're going to take a look. So I think these are both set to semi. So the TTI, we can hold the bolt releases down here, or the slide releases. So they are both as snappy as one another, but this is where the trigger really lets down the Krytac Maxim 9. It really does limit how fast you can pull that trigger. The travel's really long. Now, yes, I do have the TTI trigger in here, but even with all the stuff on that you see here that I bought separately, the pistol is still cheaper than the Maxim 9. And with this trigger on there, it is just so rapid. With the Maxim 9, you can't press it fast enough. There's too much travel and it's too notchy. So in terms of the trigger, yeah, I think I may have done the trigger, but in terms of snappiness and how fast you can cycle the gun on semi-auto, another one in TTI's box. Now, full auto. Again, with the TTI, we can literally do all one-handed. We just flip the switch up and now we're ready to go on full auto. I'll make sure that's cocked there. And with the Maxim, we have to make sure it's locked back, much like an AAP01. We have to push that really stiff selector to the side there and then drop the slide back down. So we've got the Maxim. and we've got the TTI. And I think this one's a bit more preference. Do you like a slower, faster rate of fire, or do you like a faster rate of fire? This is very snappy. It's probably what you're going to want to use full auto for. You know, if I'm not wanting to run that much rate of fire, I'd just have the pistol on semi-auto anyway. The Maxim, it's slower, but it's more steady. It seems a little bit more consistent on the speed. So it's down to preference. I'm not going to mark either one for that because it really depends on the user. So before we get to obviously Chrono and these things, I don't need to do a rate of fire test for the Chrono as much as my Chrono hates it. You can clearly see in that little snippet there that the TTI turns over faster. I'm going to check the Chrono now and see what it's doing. I run 0.3s. I don't think there's any reason to run anything lower than a 0.3. Everything else is a false economy, I believe. If your guns can't hop a 0.3 gram BB, then literally just throw an upgraded hot rubber in there or something, because the lower weights, in my opinion, they're not worth it. But let's get this switch back to semi-auto, because we don't really do full auto with it. I'll be using 0.3 gram BBs. I'm not sure where the hops are set, so what I'm going to do, just so it's fair, I'm just going to check them. So with the Krytac, I'm going to turn it all the way off and then just a little bit on, so it holds the hot rubber, holds the BB. I'm going to turn this one all the way off. I think it already was, and then we're just going to put a little bit on, just so it doesn't fall out the end of the barrel here. So we have the Chrono set to 0.3 gram BBs. I have my Maxim 9 magazine. We're ready to go. And we're 259, so just under a joule on a 0.3. Give it a couple more. So yeah, just under 0.889 joules, so just under a joule on a 0.3. Let's turn that off. And then we'll turn it back on again. And then we're going to take our TTI mag. And we'll see what this does. So first round on a 0.3. Actually sitting at 1.107 joules. Let's do some more. This gun is a lot louder, and look how consistent that is. So in terms of power out the guns as standard, just using the same gases, nothing else, both at room temperature, consistency wise, everything like that factored into account, we're going another one into the TTI box. This is a crude method, but it's the only way I can remember which one's in the lead. So yeah, two very different pistols. Do I think one is better than the other? I mean, you know, if you're on a budget, if you want performance, and you don't want to get shafted in terms of having to buy accessories out the box, because you could just run this as it was and the red dot will go straight on there. I can't put a red dot on this because I need the bracket and they don't have it in stock at the moment. So if you are on a budget, you just want performance, you just want something that can do full auto as well, that runs off a, Glock style mechanism. With all the possibilities of upgrading this within an inch of its life, then you're going to be going for the TTI over the two. If money is no option, and you plan to upgrade them, and you literally just want a good performing pistol, again, I'm going to go with the TTI. The reason you're buying a Maxim 9 is because you want a Maxim 9. You're not buying this pistol because it's the peak performing pistol on the market, because quite frankly, it just isn't. It needs a better trigger. It needs a better method of adjusting the hop, because the way this one works, it's very prehistoric in comparison to the TTI. So if you're wanting a peak performing pistol that could do semi-auto, you're not going to buy it. If you just buying it, you're not bothered about the auto, but you just want to buy it as a, you know, a solid secondary, you're not going to buy this. If you love the Maxim 9, perhaps the real steel history around it, or the looks of it, or the style of it, it's very, you know, assassin-esque, very cool piece whatsoever, very unique. You're going to be picking it up anyway. This video won't make any difference to you. Just to show you how the difference in the weight. I don't think there's much there. $815 grams, 973. So not much in it in comparison, but if you're looking at this pistol and you love it, and you love like all the looks and the styling and the fact that it's got an integrated suppressor much like the real one, not that that does anything for you with a gas blowback pistol, because all the noise is going to be coming from here, then yeah, it's all for you. Are you a collector? Yes, this one I can recommend it. You're literally, like, to me, I've ran this in one game. I think it was when I was using my AKM with Mustang up at Phoenix, and I did carry this with me. It had a tack light on it. I didn't have a holster, so I literally had to put it in a spare mag pouch on my chest. Now, as much as I like this extended mag release that I've got on there, you know, even just resting it on the bench like that, it will eject the mag. So I will need to find some kind of holster for this where it can protect that and not eject my mags on the field. This, I can pick it up right now and I can shove it in its holster, and I can go to a game and I can carry it. So that is also needs to be taken into consideration. In terms of features, performance, everything like that, the TTI TP22 does beat the Maxim 9. The TTI TP22 is almost less than a third of a cost of what the Maxim 9 is. But, you know, this is why I wanted to compare these two pistols, because they kind of fit into the same category and they completely don't fit into the same category at the same time. Let me know in the comments below which you prefer. Are you a TTI TP22 fan? Are you a Maxim 9 fan? It really is. You're spoilt for choice these days in airsoft. There's so many different products out there. So you tell me in the comments below which one you prefer and which one. Hypothetically, you know, there's going to be some people there that will say in the comments, and you're always there, I wouldn't pick either of them, I'd buy a SIG P226. We're not asking you that. If you had to pick one, you know, and someone forced you to pick one, which one would you go for? This one or this one? Thanks very much for tuning into this little weird video. It's not that I'm running out of ideas, it's just I thought it'd be a cool video to do. If it sucks, let me know in the comments below that this video sucks and you want me to get to the technical stuff. Thanks for tuning in. From me and Bench, as always, we'll see you in the next video.